Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews, filming inside where it's nice and warm.
Yes.
Today, we're going to continue our tour of 90s kind of alternative underground albums that had a major impact on music that we listen to today that we're reviewing on a regular basis now in 2013. We're going to review the 5th album from a band called Melvins. The album title, Houdini. Tom, you like the Melvins. They're
I do.
a sludge metal band.
Yeah.
What do you think about them? How does Houdini measure up for the Melvins?
Well, it's an interesting step for them because it was their first album on a major label, Atlantic, which was largely helped due to the success of Nirvana that had happened, obviously a couple years before the release of this album. And in turn, Melvins had hugely influenced Nirvana. They were kind of a big pre-grunge band, as you mentioned, very sludgy, especially in the guitars. I mean, there is some upbeat tracks on this, but especially just when you're thinking about that guitar sound.
Yeah.
And you listen to some of Nirvana's earlier stuff, it was a huge influence, and they're all kind of from the same area, influencing each other and influencing basically 90s music.
Yeah.
So it was very cool that Melvins got the opportunity to be on a major label and reach kind of a wider audience. And what I think is really cool about Houdini is that it has a lot of that classic Melvins sound. It's polished up a little bit, but not too much.
It's almost magical.
Yes. God damn it! That was bad. That actually took me a second. But anyway, King Buzzo, the guitarist and vocalist for this band, very unique character, and he said that he really wanted to make something that wouldn't alienate their fans. He knew that they all of a sudden weren't going to be launched being the biggest band in the world, but they want to stay very true to themselves and to their fans, and that's something I respect the hell out of from this band because they've always been very much off the beaten path. They're one of those bands that has influenced a lot of the music that I like, probably a lot of the music that you like, even if you haven't heard of them. Go check them out.
Not to mention all the stuff we review every year.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very cool to kind of see them get their due, see them get that respect, and also just come out with a damn good album, which is exactly what I think this is. Even if it's not one of their best ones, it's probably my favorite one that I've heard, but I also admittedly have not heard their entire discography. It is very expansive. Yes, they have a lot of stuff.
One of the things I really like that they do on Houdini is they show off that they can do a versatile sound too. I mean, the majority of the tracks are those long, sludgy, where you have the really heavy guitar. That's just the guitar just kind of resonates out, and that's where the essence of the rock is. It's just slower paced. But they also have tracks where it's a little bit faster too, where it's honestly like there's a time where it even sounds almost Metallica-esque, And I like that they show versatility in all of aspects of the music, in the songwriting, in the instrumentation, even in the vocals. The vocals are something, like when you think of like Road Salt 1 and Road Salt 2, the albums that we've
Kings of Salvation.
the albums that we've reviewed over the past couple years, like they're directly pulling from Melvins. And the thing that I got really into was just I love guitars. I love hearing guitar and hearing what a guitarist can do and how they can provide emotion to a song just through playing a guitar. And that's what Melvins do. They just, the guitar sounds that you hear just are evocative as all get out. You cannot, I don't think you could procure more emotion from a guitar sound than what Melvins
they
does.
put so much attitude in it. And that's one thing I love about this band is that I actually have a lot of trouble getting into this style, and I think the reason is because when a lot of people do it, it comes off sounding a little forced, a little contrived to me. But when I listen to Melvins, it just feels completely genuine. I don't get the sense that they're doing it to be quirky or just to kick against something for no reason. I feel like they just know exactly who they are and the music they want to make, and so they do it, and they're damn good at it.
Yeah. Now, one thing I did have as a critique for this album that honestly keeps me from loving it as much as I kind of want to love it, because the more I listen to it, the more I want to keep listening to it. It's definitely a grower. It grew on me. I didn't like it quite as much at first, and then as I listened to it, I got used to the tracks and liked it more. However, I will say the last two tracks I find kind of difficult to listen to, specifically the last track, Spread Eagle Beagle.
10 minutes of drums.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
And not in the Led Zeppelin Moby Dick sense.
No, I mean, how do you not want to skip that? I mean, to me, like an album, you're supposed to be able to put it on and listen to it the entire way through. So when you're grading an album or analyzing an album and comparing it to other albums, you naturally have to look at that and go, okay, this makes this kind of a step down just because it's not straight through listen. So when there's a lot of other albums out there that have those killer last tracks, but...
And I agree with you on the last track. I actually like the second to last track pretty well. It's not a highlight for me.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's just kind of annoying at first, you know? Until everything comes
with
in.
that really abrasive drum machine
Right.
thing. But I actually find that in general, the first like 6 or 7 songs are stellar, and it slumps a little bit after that. Jake and I both agree that Joan of Arc is a highlight of the back half, but some of the other tracks, I'd say like Teep, Kapachi, Sky Pup, while they're not terrible tracks, I don't find myself being like, oh, I want to skip this. It's just when you come off how good tracks like Night Goat and Lizzie and Going Blind are, then it's a little bit of a notch down.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the front half of this album. And another thing that's cool, I didn't really realize this until we started reviewing it, but like this album was like a major stepping stone for rock music between like like we reviewed Paranoid by Black Sabbath in the last set, and then going into some of the post-punk bands that came out in like the late 70s and 80s. Then you move into like what Melvins did on Houdini, and then now look at bands that like we mentioned Road Salt 1 and 2, Pain of Salvation, and then we also have like Torch, Harmonicraft that we reviewed
Harvey
last
Milk
year.
even.
Harvey Milk, like all these bands that have drawn influence from this. I mean, these guys clearly had a hand in a lot of the modern rock music. So it's really cool to kind of get familiar with that sound. Tom, where would you score this, historical context aside?
Historical context aside, I'm at an 88 with this one.
88?
I really like
it.
it.
I'm gonna go 84. I really like this album. The more I listen to it, the more I like it. However, it's just to me, it's hampered by just me wanting to not listen to like the last track and a half. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. I feel like if I were to continue to listen to it, I would love that front half more and more and more. What do you guys think? What's your favorite Melvins album? Did you even know that Melvins were one of the big influencers of Nirvana? I mean, that's a cool tidbit I didn't know before. Let us know at www.velocitiesinmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesinmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. We got a ton of requests for Houdini, so thank you guys for sticking your neck out there and starting a conversation with us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.